Well, good morning. We are in Genesis chapter 6. We're going to cover the first 8 verses this morning. When man began to multiply on the face of the land, and daughters were born to them, the sons of God saw that the daughters of man were attractive. Okay. There's a couple schools of thought about these sons of God. There is one school of thought that says that they are just part of one of the people groups that was deemed to have more faith with God, and so they were a people group that was set apart. I don't know about that. The second school of thought is this is angels. Well, that school has more weight to it because there's a couple other places where sons of God is mentioned and it's talking about angels. So there is some reasoning that angels had relations with human women, and because of that we have these giants. There's two different schools of thought about that, because angels are spirit beings. They wouldn't have DNA, they wouldn't have a physical body to be able to cause reproduction. There's a bunch of different schools of thought on that. I'll tell you mine, which that and the mortgage on your house will get you a cup of coffee at Starbucks. So for those people who say, well, the sons of God, if they are angels, they are spirit beings, therefore they cannot reproduce. Here's my school of thought. So you had this teenage girl. She's engaged to be married to this young man. And God tells her, you're going to be the mother of my child so that we can have a man God, a perfect man on earth. And so the Holy Spirit came upon her. The Holy Spirit, the Spirit of God, came upon her and she became pregnant with child. Well, does that mean that intercourse took place? Don't know. All we know is that she had a baby implanted in her, a fetus within her, and it grew. So how did that happen? I don't know. Do I care? I don't care. God can be God all day long. He can do whatever he wants to do. But if God's Spirit can cause Jesus to be born, then why couldn't a spirit angel cause offspring? Regardless, however you look at it, this is how they're referenced. I am just not going to try and be God. I'm going to let God be God. There are things that I do not understand. There are things that other people do not understand because they have the same amount of resources that I have. Why didn't God tell us everything? Because God didn't want you to know everything. You're not God. Neither am I. Why doesn't God give us all the examples? Why does God give us narratives that don't have all the facts? Because it's a narrative. It's a story. Well, why did Jesus tell parables that didn't have every single word that you could pick it apart and make it applicable to a theological stance? Because it was a story. And so it wasn't meant to be, it was meant to give you an understanding of the big picture. So with that, there you go. There's my deep theological premise. You can read whatever you want to read and you can have your own opinion. That's fine. Your opinion and my opinion are worth about the same thing. It's just our opinion. So I'm just going to read it and we're going to see what God says. So when man began to multiply on the face of the land and daughters were born to them, the sons of God saw that the daughters of man were attractive. And they took as their wives and they chose. Attractive. And they took as their wives and they chose. Then the Lord said, my spirit shall not abide in man forever, for he is flesh. His days shall be 120 years. The Nephilim, this is the group that's in question, were on the earth in those days and also afterward, when the sons of God came in to the daughters of man and they bore children to them. These were the mighty men who were of old, the men of renown. The Lord saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every intention of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. And the Lord regretted that he had made man on the earth, and it grieved him to his heart. Now, some people would say, so like God didn't know this was going to happen, so he regretted that he did it. God lets us know things. And I believe what he's letting us know here is our sin has an impact on him. It hurts his heart. He doesn't desire for us to be this way. He knows what we are doing. He sees what we are doing, and he wants us to desire better. He wants us to desire him. And the Lord regretted that he had made man on the earth, and it grieved him to his heart. So the Lord said, I will blot out man whom I've created from the face of the land, man and animals and creeping things and birds of the heavens, for I am sorry that I have made them. That's pretty profound. Well, that's God letting us know that our lives have an impact on him, and he desires for us to have a relationship with him. Verse 8, but Noah found favor in the eyes of the Lord. So what is that? To me, that's the hope. In the midst of a world where people have done straight lost their minds, if there are angels having relations with human women, taking them as their wives and giving them babies, and this whole power group of people as a result of that, I'm okay with that. It is what it is. But here's the truth. God desires a relationship with us. God desires us to desire him above everything else. And if we're not careful, we'll allow ourselves to get sucked into the things of this world, and we will become like the majority of the world. However, we don't have to. How do I know that? Because Noah was found to be faithful to God. And that's how I want to be found. And I hope and desire that that's how you want to be found. I desire to be found faithful to God. I want to seek him out above everything else that I seek out. And I hope you have an awesome Thursday. Seek out the Lord. I love you and I mean it. Goodbye.